All right. Morning, Facebook or YouTube. I'm gonna do a little ride today. It's gonna be a wet one, but we got a breakfast meeting to go to, so. Yep, gonna figure I'd shoot a little video. Just waiting on the missus come out and hop on. We're gonna do a little rain ride, so not bad. Haven't done one in a minute. I don't mind it. Spent 20 some years in Seattle dealing with the rain, so this is fine. There are a couple things to watch out for. I did a video, some of you have seen years ago. I did a video riding in rain, snow, everything. We were going over the pass up in Washington near Seattle. I believe it was Stevens or Snoqualmie. I can't remember which one it was. I-80. I think it was Stevens. Or no, Snoqualmie Pass. And on the way there it was nice. But on the way back we got everything from rain, sleet, hail, snow. It was definitely a mess. And I broke down the gear I wore. You can probably find that if you dig around. At that time I wasn't really too concerned about looks because I knew the elevation we were hitting, the fact there was gonna be snow. I knew it, so I got some regular landscaper rubber boots, nice solid heel. I even got some rubber kitchen gloves. I actually went to the gardening section and got some of the thicker rubber gauntlet gloves that had like a little bit of a liner into them, so they were a little warmer. I put my heated liners under them so I could plug them into my coat and stay warm, but it was all just to stay dry because it was going to be a 2 or 3 hour ride in a downpour and snow. So the big thing was staying warm and dry. I didn't really give too much of a shit what I looked like. I even had my, I think I put my high-vis rain jacket on and threw my cut over top of it just so I could be seen visibly. It had reflective on the arms and all that, so. But, hey, get in the back. Backyard. Hey, come on, get in the back. Go potty. But this time, I'm just in my normal raincoat. Shouldn't be that bad here. We're only going about a half hour down the road. Eat breakfast, come back, so. But I did want to go over a handful of things when it comes to riding in the rain. For those of you that don't do it or are nervous about it. Typically they say the first 20 minutes, half an hour of a rain is the worst. And a lot of you know all this stuff, so this is nothing new to a bunch of you. But for a lot of you new riders out there watching, the first, I've heard anywhere from 10 minutes all the way up to half an hour is the worst because all the oil that's on the road comes up to the surface. So it makes everything really, really slick. Just looking out in front of me, you can see the white lines and the yellow lines, the paint on the road. Some states put sand in them for grip. We don't do that here. We're supposed to, but they say they've been cheating us for a while and we haven't gotten any sand in our paint. But those get really, really slick. So when you come up to a stop, sometimes just, you got to be real cognizant of where you put your feet. You don't want to put them on the paint lines. You shouldn't be that close to the lines anyways, but you also need to watch when you're going around corners. Try not to hit those paint lines. Stay in your lane. Manhole covers. Those can be slick when it's wet because they're metal. So they can get real slick. So just watch your corners when you're turning. Try and avoid them. Don't overcorrect too hard to avoid them because that could put you down. So, When you come to a stop, watch where you put your feet, because you don't want to be in the middle of a lane, because that's usually the high point on the road surface, because the tires usually run, and we'll just, for purposes real quick, driver's side tire, lane 1, passenger side tire, lane 3. The hump in the middle, the high spot would be, we'll just, for today, lane 2. Lane 2, you don't want to ride in that one, especially coming to stop in that lane, because that's where a lot of your older cars, and even some of your newer cars, are going to leak. They leak oil. So that's where, if you're in it, and you stop right there, and you get taken off, you take off too hot, whatever, that tire could lose grip. Coming to a stop too soon, panic stop in that lane, you could run into some of that oil. Usually after a lot of rain, all the oil will run down into lanes 1 and 3. So that lane's typically okay for just driving in. But coming to a stop, I try not to stop in those lanes. You also want to watch, though, if you're riding in lanes 1 or 3 and you come to a stop and you're in lane 1 or 3, the divots where the tires on the cars go, if you put your foot down, you might put your foot on that center hump, lane 2, which is the higher hump in the road, but that could be where the oil is from the cars. So now you've got oil on your boot. You go to put your foot down, that foot could slide out from under you, over you go. Or you've just transferred that oil to your boot. So depending on your floorboards, those could get real slippery. So there's a little bit to watch for where you ride, where you stop. What you look for a lot of times, you will see the little rainbow effect when oil and water mix on the road in certain lanes. You'll see it, especially when it first starts raining. Pay attention to those. I know a lot of people freak out when they ride in rain. They automatically think of grip and traction. Typically, once the roads are wet, and they've been wet for a while, an hour or so, your grip's going to be fine. You know, now, go back, pay attention, remember, avoid the paint. Paint is just always slick, it really is. Try not to turn in it. Watch your crosswalks. Shifting, if you're going to be shifting through an intersection, try not to do it on the paint lines of the crosswalk, or any of the paint lines, really, for that matter. Yeah. Don't overthink it, though, is the biggest thing. You still get plenty of grip. Your tires are meant to ride in the rain. They're wet, dry, you're going to be fine. Lean angle isn't going to change too much. It's all about just paying attention. Me, I slow down a bit. If hypothetical, main streets, 45, we all run a little faster, just speed it, you know, the flow of traffic. You want to stay within a certain window. You don't want to be the slow guy on the road, but you don't want a speeding ticket. So I usually run about, I don't know, 6 or 7 over. But say you're in a 45 mile an hour lane. Hold on one sec, guys. All right, I had to shut the hood. Say you're in a 45 mile an hour lane or speed zone. In the rain, yeah, I'll keep it right about that 45. I might even go a tick under depending on how bad the rain is. If it's a downpour, yeah, I'll drop it down to 35 or 40 because everybody else is going slower too. So, but you don't want to become a hazard by slowing too far down, because now you could be the problem. So, hold on here. Get my heat on. Okay. Yeah, it's basic, just common sense. Just slow down a little bit. Leave yourself plenty of following distance. You don't want to be right up on somebody, because the panic stop when it's dry is bad. Panic stop when it's wet, a lot worse. So, your braking distance, you need to compensate for the fact you're not going to be able to stop as quick And you don't want to try a panic stop in the rain. I mean, if you have to, you have to. That's why they call them panic stops. So I'm big on practicing them. Find a parking lot, learn your brakes. Nice hot, warm day, dry parking lot. See how much pressure it takes at different speeds to lock up that back tire. Get a feel for it, learn your brakes. Now I know my handlebar is kind of in the way, but you can kind of see where the water's piling up. Another thing, your tar snakes, what they used to seal the roads with, those can get really slick in the rain. So try and avoid those. Like I say, don't overcorrect, because you see one coming at you. Because overcorrecting, wet or dry, can wash that back tire out. And when it's wet, that increases a lot. I should have my clear visor on. I've got my dark tint, or my dark chrome, but yeah, don't overthink. It's what happens to a lot of people. They get on the bike, especially in inclement weather, and they automatically start overthinking it, and they get paranoid. They don't want to turn the way they normally would, which can cause problems. That can cause you to put it down. Ride the bike normal. Relax. Remember, that's one of the reasons you got the bike, was to just enjoy the ride, to relax, to leave that stress at home. Just get on the bike, enjoy the wind, go for the ride, But pay attention to your surroundings always. Pay attention to the road you're on, your speeds. I don't mind the wet ride. I mean, as long as you got the right gear. I usually wear, I always wear my chaps, just because I've been down before. I got a video of that wreck too. I always wear my chaps, but when it's raining, I have some snowboard pants that I wear. They're light, they're waterproof. They adjust in a whole different spots around your ankles. I'll wear those under my chaps, but typically I won't wear my jeans, just because with the jeans and then your snowboard pants and then your chaps. Now, why am I fogging up so bad? I got my vent open? Jesus. Yeah, fogging up bad. I had a visor that went inside my lens, or the visor, you're supposed to keep it from fogging up, but every now and again I would shut my face mask or the front of my helmet. I have a modular, and the visor wouldn't want to come down. Well, I'd pull the visor down, finally be able to get it down, and that little anti-fog piece they put in there would fall off. So I don't know if it was poor design or what was going on, but back to pants. Yeah, so usually instead of wearing jeans under my snowmobile pants, I'll just wear my sweats, because they're a little bit lighter. It's not quite as bulky. I mean, they keep you dry. My chaps, they're old school leather. They're an old 5-pocket, real thick leather, nothing like you're going to find today. So they will slide protection. And then for my coat, my daughter bought me this jacket for Christmas a couple years back. Real nice. It's got some high-vis piping on it. Some of the gray on the bottom of my arms is supposed to be reflective. I've never been behind me, so I don't know what it looks like, but it long sleeve. I got a t-shirt. I got my heat on. I put a sweatshirt. It helps hold that heat in close to you. My heat is by hot wired. It plugs right into the bike, hooks right into your battery tender plug. It's close to about $200, but best money I've ever spent on a bike. That heat, I mean, can I catch a green light? I get a lot of guff, a handful of people, got a bunch of bunch of old school bikers give you shit for wearing heat, but you know what? At the end of the day, it's whatever, you know. See, now right here, I didn't stop in lane 3, but I didn't stop on the hump on lane 2. So I kind of have my one foot is in lane 3, and my left foot is kind of on the edge of the hump between lanes 2 and lanes 1, almost where it starts to go down towards lane 1. So I'm not really in that oil, but I always watch my takeoffs, leave a light nice and steady, because you don't know who was at that light before you. Could have been an old farm truck just pissing oil. Yeah, but with the heat, I just prefer staying warm. I mean, there's nothing worse than being cold when you're riding. The wind gets right through you. And I do a lot of cold rides, so I ride in the cold weather a lot. It doesn't bother me. Well, with the heat, I mean, this jacket gets up to 140, it's 140, 145 degrees or something. The last one got up to like 110, and it wasn't quite hot enough. But this new one, it's the Evo for the hot wired liner. That's all it is, just a little liner jacket. It's small. You curl it up in a ball, stick it right in the back of your bag. You don't even know you have it. But it helps. It's a lifesaver. I don't necessarily like to overdress when I'm on, but layers is key. And I watch these corners on some of these on-ramps just because it's wet. I mean, the roads are good and soaked, you can tell, but I'm not sure how long it's been raining right here. So I'll just keep it normal. A hot, dry day, yeah, I'll take this on-ramp at 70, you know, because traffic here is 70. So you want to be up to speed before you even get on the freeway. But coming through corners like that when it's wet, I'll slow it down a bit. You know, now that I know we got a straight shot, I mean, we're good. I'm sitting at 60. Get her up to speed, pick a lane. Kind of want to avoid a bunch of lane changes when it's wet, because you don't know what you're going to run into. It could be oil. I do slow it down a bit in the rain, just because. I mean, I think that's the smartest thing. Well, they tell you that in your car, so. Now, if it was nice and dry and sunny, yeah, I'd probably be over in the HOV lane. But inclement weather, I typically don't ride in the slow lane. I mean, I'm in it right now, but I still have one lane over to my right, which will merge. So once that merges, I'll get over. I don't like being in the lane where traffic gets on and off the freeway from. Typically that's your slow lane, your far right lane. Being a truck driver, not a semi, but Class B truck. It's got a little Moffett on the back, little forklift. I've noticed over the years, I've been driving those probably 20 something, almost 30 years. Seems like the fastest lane at times, the most steady lane for decent speed is one lane over from the slow lane, so your second lane in seems to be almost the faster lane. Yeah, your HOV lane, people blow right by you, and when they pass you, you hardly ever catch them again. But that lane is such a cluster to get in and out of that sometimes just sticking at a nice normal speed in one lane, you know, you'd be surprised the amount of cars that blow by me, and then 2 minutes later I pass them because I just stayed in my one lane. It's not the slow lane, because like I say, when traffic's getting off and on the freeway, there's too many variables right there. You got too many cars coming in, getting off. I don't like it. Yeah, you can see the road in front of me. It's the lane I'm in, where the tires go. it's fairly dry. I mean, it's close to it. You know, these cars, they do a good job of, the tires do a good job of drying the road for you, especially on freeways. So you can see. Now I did switch from lane 1 over to lane 3 because I had a rut in the road. I didn't want to get stuck making a little tiny curve turn. It wasn't really a turn, but when that lane sort of shifts and you've got that rut and it's wet, I try and avoid them just because wheels get caught. You never know. So yeah, the biggest thing though, riding in the rain, don't overthink it. Relax. Remember to breathe. These bikes are designed. I get a lot of shit for leaving my bike out all year. It gets rained on. Well, I don't have a garage right now, so I kind of have no choice. But I'll cover it up. You know, if we're getting snow, or if it's gonna rain, like in Seattle, if it's gonna rain for a week straight and I'm not riding, yeah, I'll cover it up. But I get a lot of shit for leaving the bike out. But these bikes, they're designed to get wet. You know, everything was, all the electrical, they're okay. I mean, you're going to get caught in the rain on a bike, and they know that when they build these, when they design them. So, a lot of your instruments are fine. Your wiring is fine. So, the bikes are meant to get wet. So don't doubt the bike. Just be respectful. It's all about you, you know. The bike's gonna do what you tell it to do, within reason. I mean, you tell it to take off or stop real quick and you're not ready, or the road's too wet, too slick, yeah, she might not stop. She might be like, fuck you, I can't. So, like I say, though, learn your brake, your panic stop. Do that over and over again. Find a parking lot. Try it at 20. Try it at 30, 40, 50, you know. Play with it. Learn it. That way, if you ever do need it, you know your limits. You know the bike's capability. You get that feel on that right foot for how hard to hit that back brake before that back tire locks up. Because once that tire locks up, there ain't too much you can do about it then. You know, you can let off and try for another grab, but that doesn't always work. So, yeah, just going for a nice ride, little breakfast. So, I just want to put something up there real quick. Just, there's some of you people out there that are new, really nervous about riding in the rain. Don't overthink it. You know, just don't. It's not that big of a deal. The biggest thing, like I say, is your gear. My raincoat, now it does have, I didn't bring this up, it does have all the protection in it. Elbows, shoulders, back. So if you were to hit the ground, in theory, it's not going to shatter your elbow, because, you know, your elbow on concrete at 60 could be real bad. You can shatter it. So I recommend, I mean, I prefer to wear as much protective equipment as I can. Now, granted, out here when the summer rolls around, you get into the hundreds, you know, upper 90s, 105 for 3 days. It gets really uncomfortable wearing all that stuff because it's heavy. But, you know, it's the saying people use, you know, you dress for the slide, not the ride. So you need to protect yourself. That's why they call it PPE, you know, personal protective equipment. You need to wear it. That's why a lot of your riding gear comes with it. Now, there have been times, I'm not going to lie to you, there have been times I've just rolled around in a t-shirt and my cut just because it's hot, leaving work, just wanting to feel the wind for a bit, but it's not, I don't recommend it. I mean, we all do it. We've all done it. But I've seen a lot of people go down, and boy, the burns you get from concrete on that skin, they ain't pretty. But yeah, when it comes to wet, cold, it's all about your gear. You want to stay warm, because there's nothing worse than being wet and cold, because typically they go hand in hand. If you're wet, you're going to get cold. So if you can keep yourself dry, keep some heat underneath you, you'll be fine. You can treat your visor on your helmet. You can treat that with some Rain-X. They now make it for plastic. So I'm gonna buff that in there 4 or 5 times real good. Get your lens clean. That plastic Rain-X. Buff it in there real good. Do it a couple coats. Go crazy with it. Now water just washes right off your windscreen or off your visor. See, now this guy stopping in the middle. You gotta watch out for that. Just keep your eyes open. Just pay attention and enjoy it. Don't let it scare you. But be cognizant, you know. Like right here, we got those paint strips. I'll go between them. If I'm going over overpass, that's another thing too. If I'm going over overpasses and it's cold, especially if it's cold, might be a little damp, whatever. Sometimes I'll just roll right off the throttle and just coast right over them instead of because those are the ones that freeze first. So instead of keeping power to that back tire, if it's frozen at all, that back tire, that power is going to transfer and that tire is going to spin quick. It could put you down. So I typically just roll off the throttle for a bit until I'm over that overpass, and then just slowly roll back into it. I don't play with the clutch, because that automatically just kills your power. You dump that clutch the wrong time, you can spin that back tire. So there's a little bit involved, not much. Just the biggest thing is just don't overthink it. You know, now obviously ride within your comfort level. Don't go on a wet ride with a bunch of friends if they're good at it and you're nervous as hell. Stay home. Tell them, no, I don't feel comfortable riding today. It's easy. They give you shit, fuck them, whatever. You know, they're going to give you shit anyways. Doesn't matter what you do. So just ride your own bike, you know. Don't worry about anybody else. So, alright, well, we're rolling up breakfast, so I'll reach out to you guys a little bit later. We'll do another couple more. Got my camera dialed in, so I think I'm going to start doing topics. If you guys have any, just reach out, let me know. Surprise, everybody's supposed to be here for breakfast, and I'm the only bike. Of course, that's not really a surprise. I don't want to get wet. And put on some good gear. So, alright, well, I'm here. You guys have fun. Play nice. Be safe. Later.